Well, hello and welcome back once again to the first Strike Again Deadlock tournament. As we have already gotten to see both of our semifinals completed, and now we have the makings of our grand finals. Edu, why don't you give us a refresher on how we managed to get here today?
Well, game one was, of course, the semifinals of Tracklock GG versus Magic Carpet. And honestly, Magic Carpet enjoyers, they played okay, but it's the early game that really set them apart to be the team that wanted to win it. And a similar strategy came through from the Unknown versus Deadlock Demons, as the early game was dominated by the Unknown, and they ended up winning in the late game, although their team composition really came down to one fight. So we've seen some close games, some not so close games, but most of the time, the main predictor of who takes these Atsoca is that first 8 minutes of the match.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like, not completely, but a little surprised to see that the Unknown were able to come out of that one just because of the composition they decided to go with. But at the end of the day, they were able to take that final mid-boss, take that final fight, and then turn it into a victory. I mean, after they got mid-boss, there was literally nothing stopping them. They marched straight into the opponent's headquarters there for the Deadlock Demons and just melted everything in their way. Even when the patron was in its last phase, literally instantly deleted, did not last long at all. And we were thinking, oh, the respawns are going to come in, they're going to be able to hold it off. No, that bar just melted instantly away.
Yeah, I mean, the bar melted because of, one, it's a 30-minute game, and right now a meta that early game, I would say 15 to 20 minutes is the average for some high-level Deadlock players. I mean, they know how to get a lot of farm. We talked about the CS in that first game. These guys are not missing minions. They're not missing lane creeps. They're doing damage, and it's working really well. So as we do, hopefully, have the draft being able to get started soon, let's take a look at that draft and actually find out what the plan is. I do know that we're waiting for Team B here to join up, but let me ask you, do we think we're going to see a repeat of the teams from Tracklock, as it looked like we did see the Unknown not lock in pretty much anything that Tracklock was running in that semis?
Yeah, honestly, I mean, if that's what got them here, I'm a big proponent for if it's not broke, don't fix it. So if that composition is what got you into the grands, now don't get me wrong, if for whatever reason, in their semifinal matchup that, we saw, let's say, Magic Carpet enjoyers pick someone that is the main of somebody, from Tracklock, then by all means pick that comfort characters over anything. But if they hadn't, then by all means stick with the formula that got you here. That's my entire deal. Go with your best foot forward, and clearly it was good enough to get you to the grands. I think it's going to be good enough to win you the grands. My biggest concern for Tracklock, not so much their composition, it's how do they counter their opponent's composition? How do they counter the Unknown all-out DPS comp?
Yeah, and when we look at this right now, it's time to find out what the counter is for the DPS. If we saw them actually go for the fight, if they spectated, if they learned from this game. And it looks like we do see some counter picks, counter bans. They realized that the Viscous was probably the strongest character that the Tracklock players had, in my opinion at least, and they banned it outright. Same with Tracklock banning the Pocket. Kind of curious as to how that did. I think it really does lean into the early game, but picking up Paradox for themselves, doing that damage. Let's see what the next hero pick is going to be here, as Atsoca, this is looking to be an interesting one already. The first game that we're going to be seeing without the Viscous.
Yeah, and again, that's going to be huge. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking to myself, like, if Viscous is gone and you're on the side of Tracklock, your first instinct would be to pick up the Kelvin, but you can already see the Unknown, they're going to be locking that one in. So now the question is, where do you go? Do you bring in the McGinnis now, like, to try and go with the support route? Like, you have a big problem, because not only did you lose Viscous, but now the other side has picked up Kelvin. But with that being said, they do get a little bit more free range to pick some beefier characters, because we already know the Unknown, at least from what we saw in their semis, they're not going to touch the beefy guys.
Well, let's see how many people are left. With Paradox getting locked in, as well as, of course, Pocket getting banned, that means that what is left is Vindicta, Grey Talon, Infernus, Haze, Geist, potentially, Shiv, and Seven. And to be honest with you, that's not the best. Oh, and Wraith. That's not the best comp here. So they are going to lock in the Infernus. So in order, I would say it's going to go Infernus, Wraith, probably Lash, since Lash usually got banned. Lash is actually really strong for damage dealers. And then possibly Haze and Shiv. So we may not be seeing a Grey Talon at all. Probably not going to be seeing a Yamato. But we could see that Vindicta being pulled out here on the opposite end. But of course, it does come down to the picks and the bans. And yep, Lash not being banned is going to get picked. There's a reason that Lash is in the game. If you guys have ever taken a look at his lore, he's just an asshole. That's his entire lore. It literally just says that. So so seeing that, it's going to be very interesting to see if Lash's lore is also lore accurate to this player and how the game goes with, of course, Abrams being able to join him in the punching department.
Yeah, and honestly, I love the pair up of Lash and Abrams. Again, they have both pretty similar ults, and not similar to being, again, Lash is going to be able to pick some enemies up, throw them across the board, right? And then Abrams just comes down and just absolutely annihilates. So again, I think they pair well. If Lash picks, a group of people up, able to throw them over to the Abrams able to, in unison with their ult, slam them down into the ground. I just love what Lash is able to do, and again, being that heavy punch hitting type of character, again, goes well with Abrams, who is also a heavy hitting punch character, a lot of melee. But with that being said, we're looking at now the next pickup going through on the other side of the aisle. We're looking at the Unknown, and they're going to be picking up that Geist.
Yeah, they pick up Geist, and to answer to the Geist is Wraith. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Geist, because it was a pretty quick response to. Geist here is somebody who, if you're Paradox, and you're like, hey, I got this character real low. If you're Lash, hey, I got this character real low. Geist wants to be low, and then they're going to be above you, and they're going to win, and they are that turnaround mechanic. Now, I don't know if you've played Dota much, Atsoca, but in Dota, there's a character called Terrorblade, and his ultimate's Sunder. Whatever his HP is, becomes the enemy. Whatever the enemy's HP percentage becomes his. AKA, flip the script. And that's pretty much Geist. Just Terrorblade. So you can see some very interesting plays with that, comboing with another high DPS Mirage. I don't know, they're going for the DPS plays.
I'll be honest, that kind of sounds just like a life steal, essentially. Like, again, your soul is mine type of vibe. But with that being said, I mean, again, I think the Wraith was actually a really good pickup from Tracklock. Well, clearly because the Wraith, again, is Wraith. But keep in mind is that like you had mentioned in the previous game, the MVP from the side of the Unknown was using Wraith. So you take that pick away from them, I think is huge. But now, take a look at this. This is something we didn't see in the last game from the Unknown. They're picking up, or at least hovering. They haven't confirmed yet, but there it is. They're bringing in the Dynamo.
That's awesome. Honestly, I think that they understood that they needed to have a tankier style team comp. Dynamo also a very solid support, being able to capture and save a player, as well as just have a decent AoE heal. So bringing in the Dynamo can offer quite a bit of early game survivability, and when you're up against Paradox, Lash, Wraith, and now hovering 7, you're gonna need it. Mo and Krill as well, good CC. You have a very CC heavy team here, but again, a CC heavy team for one side. Tracklock, you're gonna have to answer with CC, and that's when you bring out Dynamo, and then you hover the Shiv. Now the Shiv was very vital in actually just getting a lot of those late game kills, so I can understand this.
Maybe it's just because of my bias and innate dislike for 7, but I don't know. I'm thinking maybe, you know what, whatever. You do you. Tracklock is the defending champs for a reason. They know what they're doing. I'm pretty sure they went with the 7 in the previous game. They made it work. They're going to continue to make it work. And, if all else, 7's ultimate, even if it doesn't come through with big eliminations, it is a great site clear. It is a great lane clear. It reminds me of a lot of Raze's ultimate in Valorant, because Raze has the showstopper. And you hardly ever see it really used just to pick up some cheeky limbs. It's just to clear sight. It's to get everyone to scatter, right, and to take control. And I think that's what 7's ultimate is ultimately used for. It's to clear lane, clear objective, clear guardian, whatever it is. It just causes your opponents to just scatter to the wind.
I mean, let's take a playbook out of the last team who we saw running a 7. just don't use it because it makes it so you can't shoot. Just don't even bother clicking on it. That's what we saw the last 7 even opt for. Just saying my ult's pretty much useless. It just makes me a very easy target. But 7's ultimate can combo very well with Lash's. That's the difference. Lash kind of being a pseudo paradox ultimate for a second there, comboing with a decent amount of stun from the Abrams and the Moan Krill, can pretty much turn this around in 7's favor. So maybe we will be seeing it used as that team fight. If people are incapacitated, that can really change things. Now, incapacitation is what Dynamo knows best, but I don't see that we're going to be seeing Tracklock at all running in a 5-man or 6-man group. They're going to be splitting up a lot, so Dynamo might not be getting as much value.
Yeah, and you know what? I am just, it's now, the gears are now just turning in my mind about having Abrams and Mo and Krill on the same like lineup. More often than not, they're going opposite directions. One team picks up Mo, the other one picks up Abrams. Seeing them on the same side, I see it little to not at all. So that is going to be interesting. I'm really interested to see on how they make that work. And is that too much muscle? Not for Tracklock, but for the unknown. Is that too much muscle for them to overcome? That's where my head is going right now.
Well, we did just overcome it in the last game. And not having the viscous really does, one, enable significantly less amount of saves. So they're going to have to put a lot of pressure on just juke ability. They have no secondary support character that can just pick somebody from one point to another. They don't got viscous, they don't got Dynamo, and they don't got Bebop. And of course, that's going to be an advantage to the unknown with players like Geist and Infernus. They're going to be low a lot, going in a lot, and that's where you can have Dynamo trying to get them that escape, or maybe Infernus being that flag carrier, saying, "Hey guys, follow me, follow the hothead, follow the Lady Geist. She's low. Go into an alleyway," and Dynamo's appearing there with a huge ultimate. We have a lot of potential for good team play, good baiting plays, and right now who's on the hook is going to be that Infernus and that Lady Geist. So I can't really wait to see what's going to happen here as we're waiting for the players to join up in the lobby, get this ball rolling, and hopefully seeing who is going to be our winner of the first strike. Strike again, $100. If you win, you take it all. So let's get on into that game here. Atsoca, any final thoughts about the draft?
I mean, we pretty much covered all the bases here. We really have, but I think it was an interesting point that you made with that 7. The last time we saw them out, they didn't use their ultimate at all. So tis to wonder, are they going to play that way again and just hold on to their ult and not use it?
There's a possibility for that, and I think we might actually just see it. But again, it's about the team synergy. I think that this team synergizes with 7 a little bit more. So, Atsoca, what lane matchups do we have right now, and what do you think about them?
Well, let's see. It looks as though that we have already seen, it looks like Lash and 7 are going to be taking the lane here for Tracklock. All the while, we do have the Dynamo going to be coming out from Team Unknown, as they're going to be trying to take on their opponent. And now you see the Molo Krill, you got Lash here coming from the side, and already they're pushing back that Kelvin all the way. And honestly, I think you had already said it in the pre-show, Lash and 7, that's the combo, right?
Yep, that is the combo. So seeing them trying to now also be in lane together definitely can get the combo together and rearing. So we might see it very early in this game.
Well, they're going to be starting in the same lane now. Infernus already going to be pushing their way to the Guardian. That Mo and Krill dangerously low. As they... Yeah, I mean, they are going to be eliminated rather early, and that's going to, you know, feed that Infernus pretty early as well.
Feeding the Infernus and maybe just feeding the game. I mean, that's a headache-inducing one right there. But feeding Infernus could be a tactical strategy.
Really? Okay.
No.
Yeah, I was about to say, do tell.
Well,
I'm thinking
think about this. If you're worth more when you kill them inevitably.
Okay. A little bit of a reach there,
They're
but
planting
I
the
get what you're
seed.
saying.
They're gonna harvest him later.
Okay, got to fatten him up for supper, right? That's what we're doing.
Exactly.
All right. That sounds good. As we continue on, and continue on we shall. already. I mean, there has been a good amount of damage done to the Guardians here in the favor of the Unknown already. We have Kelvin now trying to avoid the danger. They're going to be partnered with the Shiv there in that lane. Shiv now going to be closing the gap a little bit, trying to avoid Lash. Lash tried coming in with the Haymaker, but not able to close the gap.
Wow. I mean, coming in, coming out, doing damage, turning around. We do see Mo and Krill again being incredibly low against this Infernus. So I'm thinking they need to switch the lanes ASAP. Like in the next 30 seconds, they need to switch these lanes. If Mo and Krill continues to, not be able to farm and just feed, we have an Infernus at 2K already. Oh God. I mean, it's going to be a repeat. This is the exact same angle. What?
Yeah, there's got to be some communication. We got to start calming if you're on the side of Tracklock right now. I mean, regardless, even if you don't calm to switch the lane, call for a gank. You got to shut down that Infernus. Like you said, they are farming pretty well, and they are literally single-handedly taking on their 1v1 against the Mo and Krill. Meanwhile, we can see the Infernus again pushing ever so closely back and towards that Guardian, and there's Mo in the same spot.
Oh, Mo in the same spot, and not gonna kill the Mo, but we are seeing Infernus just getting to farm right now. Talking about farm, this entire team just in the lead. We're 3 minutes in the game. Look at the money going in between these two teams right now. It's a lot of funds already. We're looking at a total game net worth of 26,000, and oh, great stun from the Dynamo, but unfortunately there's a sign in the way, not gonna be able to finish the kill.
Ooh, yeah, I never did understand how like a little plasterboard sign is holding up against ray guns and fire and grenades, but whatever, games be gaming, and there you have it. Two big limbs, two big picks going the way of Tracklock.
Wow. I mean, actually Tracklock just setting up with a decent amount of damage. Hopefully they can now start feeding these lanes, but again, this Infernus has free range of just bullying Mo and Krill. If anything, this could be an opportunity for Team Unknown to go for some rotate ganks now that some people are going back to base. Another person back to base is actually going to be the Fortnite player. It's going to be the Lady Geist heading all the way back and resetting. So yeah, somebody has to help out some rotates.
I mean, can it even be considered bullying if it's a 1v1? I mean, at what point at what point do you just need to get good? But you said yes, you can still bully in the 1v1, but I mean, what are you gonna do? Dynamo, now the next one up on the chopping block as they get sent back to spawn.
It's possible you could bully in a 1v1. I mean, have you ever just like been next to somebody and they're kind of just mean to you?
I'm not talking about like, maybe like IRL. I'm just saying like in a 1v1 matchup, of course.
Oh yeah. At what point is it a skill diff? Is the question. Right. Which I'd say at any moment it's a skill diff. But
well, there goes the Kelvin ult as we are corralling around the Guardian.
What? Shiv catches those? That's crazy. Yeah. Oh, 7 ult. Let's see what it can do here. And it keeps him alive. He cancels it, and he's dead.
Yep, there they go.
Wow, that's everybody. Every lane just kind of got folded there.
Yeah, well, that answered the question. Are we going to see the 7 ult? And we did. We got to see it very early. Did it really do anything? Not too much, but at least it did manage to make an appearance. Now you can see Lash having the back off here, making their way back towards their Guardian. 7 now coming back out to play, trying to finish off this Kelvin, and they will be eliminated. Again, I haven't been keeping too much track on the KD, but if I had to venture a guess, I would say that maybe Tracklock is winning the KD exchange right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're definitely being able to maybe turn it around, but I mean, are they winning the KD exchange? I don't know. Yeah, let's take a look. Okay, so we have a 1-1, a 2-1, a 2-1 again. And then you look over, and they're definitely not winning because of the Lash at 2-0. Being undefeated is huge in this game right now, and Lash is free farming.
Yep, that'll do it. Meanwhile, you also see, the soul count going the way of Team Unknown here early, as they are able to take now a 4K lead over Tracklock, which explains why Lash was going around trying to farm a little bit on the jungle, getting some of those mobs taken care of, trying to at least close the gap. As now it looks as though some more trouble arising for Tracklock. As now Shiv going to be pushing the issue, going all the way forward, holding the W key, still standing, and they are going, trying to find an elimination, not one, but both, and they will. Big play being made by Tracklock.
Wow, just wow. I mean, when Tracklock is able to unfortunately lose two like that, it's Team Unknown who's going to take the cake. And yeah, the big play, big punish, bigger pickup, and yeah, you're going high, you're going low, you might die. It's just kidding. Mirage flying on in, and there's the picks, there's the kills. Whew, alrighty, so Team Unknown definitely winning it. You do have that Lash still okay-ish, but yeah, it's time for objectives to fall. Flex slots are now unlocked. It's time to really worry about some real kills here, as it is a big push for the Geist. But honestly, Team Unknown, they are doing what they do best, taking the early game lead.
Yeah, and honestly, I gotta say, the late game even looking a little bit better for them now because of that Dynamo pickup. And I think that's really going to change the game all the way around for them. But again, don't want to predict too early. We haven't even hit the 10-minute mark yet. Still plenty of Deadlock left to be played. But again, the last time we saw Team Unknown take a lead in the early game, they ended up taking the whole thing. So, I mean, for them, so far, good omens.
Let's see it. Well, good omens. Amber Walkers are starting to get hit a little bit. Again, objective-wise, Team Unknown last time started off like this. It's pretty much a repeat of last game. Now, the problem that I know we were talking about in the green room for this team is that they really need to build up the confidence earlier than they had to end the game outright and start going for these pushes. Because remember, against a team like this, especially against a team with... actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. They have a Dynamo. They want late game no matter what. They just want to win this game anyways. And with an ult like that, they can.
Ooh. Yeah, we just saw a pretty nifty Paradox ult, to get that a limb there and absolutely just shutting down that Geist. And again, that's how you effectively use the Paradox ult. And now they're able to gain a little bit more ground on the likes of Team Unknown.
Let's see it. A little bit of a lead here. I will say, Lady Geist probably not doing the best out of anybody on this team. If we take a look at that scoreboard, it's not ideal. I think she's died, what, 2-3 times now? So not ideal coming out from the Fortnite player. Yeah, 3 times for Sizz Lucky. Oof, not the best, and honestly kind of holding back Team Unknown's early game.
Yeah, and that's interesting because again, Sizz Lucky was the one that was the the quote-unquote MVP of their semifinal matchup because of their tremendous OBJ damage. You're looking at over 36k in OBJ damage coming from Sizz Lucky, but they were on the Wraith at the time. So again, that Wraith pickup coming from Tracklock could be having a bigger ripple effect than maybe we saw at first glance.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Maybe the ripple effect starts now. Maybe the waves aren't as big, or at least they can showcase themselves a little bit earlier. But talk about the ripple, it's the urn getting picked up, and uh-oh. Paradox trying to catch up and wants to stop that urn from getting across. Flash just continuing farm anyways, but overall, that urn in play can turn this entire game around.
Let's see what they can make of it. As you can see, it is going to be Mo and Krill now going for a little bit of farm here. And Furnace also just dealing with the minions for the most part, not much doing. But again, we're looking at the Guardians, and they have all been destroyed on the side of Tracklock. So right now, Team Unknown still looking rather strong. It's pretty much now we're just we're all out farming now until finally you do see at least Mirage being picked up, nearly eliminated, as they finally make it back to the safety of the Guardian.
That's it. Safety of the Guardian, as people are alive still, but the thing about it, safety as a Guardian doesn't really matter when I've seen some players dive those things, dive those puppies, and just get the kills anyways. So we might be looking at that. Of course, mid boss is online, so there is a chance that they can start doing that, especially as they've taken even more Guardians here. Now they're moving as a team. They're taking the teleporter. They're gearing up. They're about to have a team fight ready. for that earn. And here it comes right out the sidelines. They're going big, huge plays here from the Lash 7 combo, but it's the stun, it's the Moen Krill, and there's the one. It's the shift to fall. Here we go, Atsoca. They're keeping the energies. They have a perfect gank and flank. As a team, they coordinated, and as a team, they have Punish, but Punish finally stops. Unfortunately, Spooky.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was a little bit haphazard there. We did see the Dynamo ult come out as well, so yeah, you know, they invested into that last team fight. They did come up short again, 2v1 in the exchange. Again, could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse in that scenario, to be honest.
I'm gonna be up close. I need to be ready.
Yeah. Could have been a lot worse. I'm gonna say this, Atsoca. I think that was pretty bad outcome wise. You know, obviously they could have all died, but Infernus, when he's okay, this looks derpy as hell. Oh, he reloads by breaking his arm in half.
I gotta say, Infernus is like every childhood's dream come true. Like, you know, you do the finger gun, you go pew pew, and then something actually comes out of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of the cooler characters for that reason. Ironically enough, he's the hottest character, but Guardians are going to be falling here. And damage is coming online. We do see the Kelvin Beam, the stun from the Dynamo. They actually scared him away from that objective. So again, the defense from Team Unknown really highlighting themselves here. They don't have a heavy DPS build as much as last time, and it showcases without they can so beautifully defend and hold points.
Yeah, and you know what? They were still, and even in the last game, they didn't have, that extra little bit of muscle, right? They didn't have, an extra bit of like a tank type of character. Now with Dynamo, I think that's only going to benefit them even more, because we've already seen that they are capable in these fights, in team fights, in the 1v1. We know they can handle themselves, and now that they have a little bit of extra oomph behind them, and not to mention the ultimate that Dynamo brings to the table as well, I think again, this was the right pick. And I think Team Unknown knows it was the right pick. I feel like they were aware of the shortcomings they had in the semifinals, and they couldn't risk that happening again in the grands.
True, absolutely true. But I will say, risking something coming up here is just a free kill. The punish online, the Shiv here, so clean. The Lash will be popping. Oh, a big ultimate here from the Lash combo. Honestly, Dynamo had a really funny option there, but his ult's on cooldown. If he had it back up, that could have been GG right there. But of course, Lash ultimate, all it does is kind of shake them up. It doesn't stop them from pushing in. The power of Dynamo's heal is a bit too good right now.
And that Amber Walker will go down. Again, great play being made by Team Unknown as they're able to win out a lot of these fights, and now they're able to find yet another elimination, this time on Abrams. And we've already seen Team Unknown go absolutely nutty with these team fights, and now taking full advantage as they are just going to keep on pushing forward.
There we go. Ooh, decent shots. And as you said about pushing forward, look at how much havoc has been wrecked. Remember, so far, Team Unknown has only lost one Guardian. Tracklock is missing all but 2 walkers. And they are getting absolutely systematically disarmed, dismantled, and losing another walker. The urn's going to get picked up, but what's that going to earn you if you have nothing to defend?
Exactly. And not only that, but I'm thinking, at this point, you're clearly pushing the envelope against your opponent here. I mean, Team Unknown, they're pushed all the way back to their headquarters, all the way back to their spawn. If you are Tracklock, when do you decide to go for the mid boss, or do you even try and go for it at all?
I think right now, if you're Tracklock, you go for a steal. You go for sending in one guy, probably your Lash, to use an ultimate and then just steal it from people. You don't want to fight it. What? Hold up. Abrams doing some damage, and okay, you got... That's the thing. If you walk into a hallway and you see 2 people, is your answer, let's just start punching them? The answer is yes, because your team backs you up and you start killing everybody. Dynamo gets out without using ult. Nope, he's dead.
I mean, regardless, the Abrams ended up losing in that one, but we're seeing the trades come in. They're just about even. You're looking at 3-3, but the team fights aren't over yet. And now here goes that Geist on the receiving end of a lot of damage. My goodness, as it looks as though they will also be eliminated. The team fights definitely going the way of Tracklock this time around, at least for now. As Mirage trying to avoid the danger from the Mo and Krill and from the rest of the team. This Mirage looking a little worse for wear. I don't think they're going to be going very far. They have half health remaining, trying to play up and down on the ropes, and there you go. Mirage will be dealt with.
Oof, and here's a potential comeback. And, you know, you'd asked when do they go for these objectives? And funny story, it's now. They have the opportunity to maybe go for mid, and just now, they have ultimates. It's also about ult economy. Mo and Krill should be back up. Wraith is going to be back up. They have Lash. They have, of course, 7 Lash combo. But Dynamo's online, Kelvin's online, Infernus is online. The team fights are here. So if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen in the next 300 seconds because these guys are absolutely gaming right now. And, you know, one thing I will say is when you do have that Dynamo, we haven't really seen too many good ults. I think we saw one, and that was really it. I need to see a little bit more commitment from it. But again, it's all about that team synergy.
You know what? I'm going to pick your brain a little bit here because I want to ask, in the terms of Deadlock, do you want to play for the ult dump or do you want to spread them out a little bit more? How do you approach that Deadlock? Because in some other games, you see the ult dump. Other games, you see it spread.
You treat it like Valorant. You don't dump too much, or you treat it like Overwatch. My bad. You don't want to ult dump because then you're not going to have it for the immediate next fight. Because remember, people respawn on 1-minute timer. Ultimates have 300-second timers. Let's do some simple math there. It doesn't add up. You have to try to stagger your ultimates to maybe have the most efficiency across the board. So to answer your question, you want maybe 2 ultimates in a team fight that really do line up for long period ults or cooldown ultimates. That would be like Dynamos. You'd want maybe 1 Dynamo type ult each fight.
You know what? I'm glad you brought up Valorant because that was my mindset as well. You know, just to maybe go 1 or 2 ults at a time. You never want to go like, full regalia, just calling every single ult all at the same time because then it kind of like diminishes the effectiveness of the ultimates. So yeah, I 100% agree. And Valorant was on the brain when thinking of ult economy. And I was just wanted to know how you thought that translates into the ult economy for Deadlock. But now you can see it is going to be Team Unknown going for the mid boss first.
Yeah, going for the mid boss, and Team Unknown will just be taking it, but remember, it does have to slowly float down, and that gives opportunity for a player like this to come on in and punch it. Will they succeed?
I mean, they're trying.
It's still up. They're body blocking it.
It's still there. Team Unknown is going to secure it. Yep. Oh, that was close, though.
Good attempt. I mean, I'm glad, but remember he asked, what do they do about mid boss? That's what they do. They send in 1 player, and it's a 50-50 whether they get it or they don't.
Yeah, unfortunately for Tracklock, they ended up on the don't side of things. But the reason that I also kind of mentioned Ivy a little bit earlier is because there was one previous tournament where I saw probably the best mid boss steal ever, and it was by an Ivy ulting down on top of the crystal, and it was absolutely, again, just lone player, sole Ivy goes in, just drops right on top of it in the middle of the Dynamo ult too. The opposition Dynamo ulted the crystal so no one could steal it, and Ivy just dropped right on top of it and stole it.
Talking about dropping right on top of it, look at this Mo and Krill getting dropped even while flying on in, but an ultimate from the Paradox to try to set him up, and some nice Infernus ult, and there's the Dynamo managing to grab 1, but 1's all you get, Shoddy. That's it. The Abrams gone, and of course we're seeing now Dynamo reset, time to push in, aggressive with the stun, keeping them in base. This is it. No one has really fallen outside of the Shiv, but they're the squishiest of the bunch. And of course, it's now time for the Patron to get chipped away. Punch, punch, kick, kick, shoot, shoot. 3 players are down. This is Team Unknown's game. Tracklock, I don't think it's going to be able to turn this around in any way, shape, or form. But I said that last time, and then somehow, I was wrong.
Yep, Patron nearly gone. As you can see, they are going to continue to push forward. You see this Mo and Krill now hovering around the spawn. There goes, what is happening here? I got completely lost in that proverbial sauce. All the players instantly just got yanked and ganked, and now here we back are again with the push coming from Team Unknown. I want to say that was it looked as though a Lash ult came out, but no. I got lost there. What happened?
damage. Just straight up killed them before it actually can proc. So looking at this next fight now, you have the Moe and Krill stuck down there. The stun's a little bit too much, and trying to, watch this back. It's a lot of util, the dumping coming through, but here we go. The kill finally. It's the Wraith to go down, and wait, Mirage is gone. This could be the chance to shine. The pocket jumping in, the great CC here, but unfortunately, you're losing too many. Moe and Krill is gone, and the Patron, which is already weakened, the ball is getting punched. But there we go. 7 popping ultimate. Can he stop them from destroying it? He can. He takes out one. Spooky takes out another. They all go down except for the Dynamo, who unfortunately joins them in the 6-foot under club, and they could not end the game, but the Rejuvenator means they'll be back in 15 seconds.
Well, there you go. That's how you use the 7 ult right there. I mean, my goodness, literally saved the game for Tracklock. And, we were talking about, when is that 7 ult coming out? Well, it comes out when you find you find your opponents inside of your own base, right? When they're taking on the Patron, that's when you break out that 7 ult. And my goodness, peak 7 move right there, coming from the side of Frippy. But with that being said, like you said, with the Rejuvenator, we already know Team Unknown, they're going to be back up and in the fight quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah, quick, fast, in a hurry, and honestly, they can just try to run this all the way down and just break it. That's the power of a incredibly low Patron, and looks like they are going to try to reset some of their souls, get their fire rates back, get some of these, destroy on death moments. Also, Geist still does not have the best buys. Still has 4 open flex slots, but anyways, Patron weakened, already at half HP. They've kind of lost their ability to push back in there and try to finish it off. It's now going to be a hard reset. They could have ended the game, and unfortunately, thanks to the 7, they didn't.
Yeah, not to mention this entire time that 7 ult was also, gaining back. But with that being said, I mean, everybody's kidded. Everybody has their ult. 7 nearly getting there. So once again, we're going to be, at 6v6 ult economy. So again, not too much love lost there. And now you can see the Patron is gaining their health back, even though in a weakened state. I don't think they could just bulldoze their way in and, pretty much just take over. They're going to have to try and come up with a play here, come up with a strategy in order to really, put this game to bed.
Yeah, well, what's the strat going to be? What's the plan that they're going to be able to pull up? That's the real question here. I think it does come down to waiting for mid-boss again, because these guys, as they've proven in our semifinals, they don't really have the confidence of just pushing in without Rejuvenator, which is a little bit disappointing. But when it is a tournament setting, when it is something that does show up here on Liquipedia, stats matter. Stats matter for these teams, as well as that winner take all. There's no way that they're going to be fighting for second place when they get nothing out of this outside of a silver medal. Like, the only thing silver in my house is spoons, all right? But looking at this, they're now pushing in. They got the urn, and here's a lot of util. Atsoca, what the hell is happening?
I don't know. I mean, once again, I've got lost in the sauce once already, and that was back, in the headquarters there of Tracklock. But now you can already see that this Lash is going to be eliminated. I mean, they got absolutely tilted with the util coming out from the side of Team Unknown. I think Team Unknown being a little bit sneaky there. They literally caught the side of Tracklock, I guess, trying to farm on some of those souls, and just caught them off guard and were able to capitalize.
Yeah, and wow, capitalization onto the Lash is huge. Might be able to start getting that push up, but unfortunately here for Team Unknown, they have to go pretty deep in, and that takes time. It takes time to get to these points, and no, Paradox going for the ultimate in combo with the Kelvin. Oh wait, that is so clean, but no, they don't actually finish the job. Now the Kelvin's able to turn it around thanks to their ultimate here, and there it is. The Dynamo comes on in and sucks off 4. Everybody's getting absolutely floored. There's only now 3 players remaining. The Lash will be up in 2-1. Is it too late, as we have only 3 players to defend it, and there's no 7 alive to ult to scare them off? This could be GG, and honestly, I think it will be. They are getting distracted a little bit by some CC, but it's not enough. It's time to end the game.
Yeah, that's 100% a GG. I mean, beautiful plays being made all around. And you know what, you got to give credit to where credit is due on that one. I mean, I really think it was the dynamo pick that really changed things up. That, again, we even saw that in the last play on the entry. It was the dynamo ult. That's what broke them in. And then we were even saying earlier that, you know, maybe they should wait for mid boss because they were lacking a little bit of that confidence to rush on in without it. Well, they don't need it because they had the dynamo pick. Again, changed to me the entire, not the entire play style, but was a significant change indeed, and much needed for the side of Team Unknown.
Yeah, and shout outs to, you know, we talked about people moving from one game to another. Here's Dapper. You know Dapper. Got the most souls in the lobby. Remember, this is the Infernus that happened to get fed by the Moen Krill early in the game. 3-1, kept up that momentum and kept farming souls and kept farming like a beast. Obviously, 11 assists on him because of that ultimate. It's little things like that that you can see in the early game translate so beautifully. But we do have a dethroned king of jungle. Tracklock is not our reigning champs. Of course, it is going to be the Unknown, who is now known as the people who just win those. So honestly, that's some insanely solid gameplay.
And it's funny because you said in the very beginning, you know, with these players like Dapper, is like clearly the Unknown is, as a matter of fact, known. And now that they have managed to win the first strike Deadlock tourney, strike again, they are even now more known. So now I just feel like I'm being gaslit by this team. Like, what is happening?
Yeah, I mean, it's so weird, though. They got Valorant players, Smite players, Fortnite players. Hell, they might have a chess pro. Who knows? But the way that they played today, absolutely wonderful stuff. But with that being said, that is the first strike who did such a clean job for these teams. And Atsoca, I gotta wonder, how are you feeling after a first strike again? Are you excited for a potential strikeout?
Oh, 100. What do you mean potential? It's happening. It's coming. You know, we are going to see that strikeout. And now, not only that, but we're guaranteed to see the Unknown coming to the strikeout, because not only do they win the $100 cash, but they win an automatic invitation to the next event. So again, yes, 100% looking forward to it. And I love being here in like the early competitive days of Deadlock, because we literally get to see this living, breathing game grow in real time. Again, like when we are, you know, let's say years from now, looking back on Deadlock, we're going to say, well, this is how it was in the very beginning. It's all starting right here. And honestly, could not be more thrilled than to be a part of it. Again, I consider myself lucky to even be here, seeing, you know, the early days of this esport and the great talent that is involved in it. Again, we're seeing pros from all corners of esports finding themselves together here in this game.
Absolutely. So again, thank you everybody for finding yourself in this Twitch chat today. Thank you for the prod team behind us. Shout outs to our wonderful producer, Cimok. We got Bowlby on the observing. And of course, thank you, False Nat, for being the, you know, patron of Colossal tournaments, being able to actually put on the events, organize this behind the scenes. So again, if you guys want to get in on this, join the Discord. There's going to be signups for the next first strike tournament. And of course, if you are an up-and-coming Deadlock player, there are so few tournaments. This is the time to get in. This is the time to shine. Get on in right here, right now. Thanks again for watching. My name has been Edu. I love casting with Captain Atsoca. You can always go and find us on Twitter or social medias. I know Atsoca has Captain Atsoca on most of his stuff. You can just find me on Twitter at EduCautious. Atsoca, thanks for joining me. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.